Alright folks, so this here is I went into hillbilly mode, this here. First look at the Arrowhead TriHawk 3-power prismatic scope. That's what I've got here on my ultralight AR, ultralight-ish. This gun, as is, with the pencil barrel and all that sort of stuff, weighs in at right around 5 pounds. But the 60-round magazine that you see here, it's a little bit, sometimes I think the magazine is as heavy as the gun. I know there's no particularly good reason for me to be using a 60-round mag here at the range, but you know what, I spent almost 30 years in California, and as far as I'm concerned, every time you're shooting, it's a good reason to use a 60-round capacity magazine. With that out of the way, it is a very lightweight gun, very nice and quick handling, 14.5-inch barrel with a permanently pinned flash suppressor. The barrel is from Voodoo, which they no longer make this. Adam's Arms kind of went through a rebirth. The handguard is from Brigand Arms. This is the lightest handguard I've ever seen. I've been using this one for quite some time, and it is super light and surprisingly durable. So far, it's a super fast handling gun. The lower receiver is a fairly standard, I think it's a Sun Devil. They don't make those, it's a milled receiver. And the upper receiver, I believe, is, who is this from? I'll remember in a moment, but my phone is making noises. Yeah, it's a slightly lighter version, but by and large, it's a comparatively conventional. Oh, bootleg arms. They make these adjustable bolt carriers that I like, and I decided to try the handguard and the upper receiver. The upper receiver I like, the handguard I don't like. It's on a different gun. I'll talk about that at a later point. But anyhow, so this gun has worked out quite nicely. It's got a nice trigger tech trigger, a lightweight stock, works nicely. So I got my hands on a TriHawk prismatic scope from from SwampFox, and decided to give it a shot. I have not had it for very long, so these are first impressions. I'll beat it up a bit more and we'll see how it goes. The sight is beefy. It is substantial. I don't remember how much it weighs. It feels like it's about a pound or so close to 16 ounces. But given the fact that it is with an integrated mount, that's not a huge deal. The mount has a battery compartment. This is a CR123 battery. I use those for my flashlight, so that is good news for me. This one is what we, in the industry, in the optics industry, this is what we call a big ass prism. The prism assembly here is really substantial, and what that does, it allows SwampFox to give this thing really wide field of view and really generous eye box. Eye relief on this sucker is extremely forgiving, and field of view is very wide. This is just a huge image right in front of you. Let me release it from the gun pod. So this is the kind of station. This handguard does not really have anything on it, and I don't like to hang too much stuff from lightweight handguards. So I use the gun pod to hold it. So when you line up behind the scope, it's really easy. Like I can move around. There is some shading on the sides, but I can still aim with this much latitude. This is not bad. Not bad at all. I like this thing so far. It's not an ultralight 3-power. You know, I have somewhere, and actually, no, I don't. I give it to my brother. I have an older Elcan 3-power prismatic, which is slimmer, trimmer, lighter. It's very nice. I think this sucker has a wider field of view, just because, you know, they decided to go for that. The fact that this thing is fairly beefy is not an accident. If you want a wide field of view, prisms get bigger and heavier, and then the mounting system for the prisms gets bigger and heavier. So you have to, you know, one of those, pick your poison. If you want really wide field of view in a prismatic scope, you know, there'll be some compromises, and prisms have to be fairly substantial. Now, this is still not a humongous scope. The reason I put this on this particular AR is that this AR is the lightest one that I have, and I wanted to see if the handling is compromised in any sort of a substantial manner, and it is not. It handles nicely. I've tried it, I'm joking about 60 round mag, but I've tried it with conventional magazines, conventional weight, and stuff like that. New low receiver. Safety is very stiff. It handles nicely, it does not seem to slow me down. With a larger, heavier gun, it will make a bit less of a difference. But even with this guy, I really can't complain. It works well. Optically, so far I really like what I see. The field of view is both very wide and nicely corrected. The reticles looks to be centered nicely, and I don't see any cant. I have SwampFox's 1 power prismatic, and I had some issues there with the reticle placement. This one, everything works. It comes with eye covers. Honestly, for a lot of shooting, I just take these off, because now the field of view is really huge and you don't see, the eye cap behind it. The way the body is contoured, that basically once you line up behind the sight, you don't see most of this stuff, which is nice. It looks like just this huge image hanging in front of you. It's a nice way to go. The elevation and windage adjustments are capped. The windage adjustment is on the left side. I'm not sure I care in this case, but it works. Reticle is illuminated. Mine is green illuminated, and it's illuminated using buttons. It is an up and down button. The illumination is nice and bright. On a fairly bright New Mexico day, I can see, well, when turned on full blast, I can see the reticle illumination quite nicely. You'll see some images momentarily, with and without illumination. The reticle itself is a simple design. It's sort of a segmented horseshoe circle, a kind of a trident aiming point, and MOA scale for ranging and holdover. I'm not an MOA guy, but the scope like this, I haven't tried shooting it further out using the MOA scale for holdover, but I will at some point. So far, all I've been doing with this, I've looked at it carefully in terms of optics, and I did a fair amount of shooting with it offhand, trying to figure out how comfortable this thing really is to get behind, and so far I like what I see. The one thing that I am slightly mixed on, and I'm probably in a minority here, so the optical axis of this side is a little bit higher than is conventional. So the normal side of a bore is about 2.5 inches roughly. So here is the my Razor Gen 3, the same stock. I'm going to try to line them up. There you go. I don't know how well you can see it, but you can clearly see that the TriHawk is a little bit higher above the stock. So the Razor is at about 2.46. I think that's with the odd mount. That's how high it sits. This one is a little bit higher. It's probably in the 1.9 inch range or thereabouts. Probably around 1.9 inch range. I do not remember for sure what the height is. I'll look it up and I'll add it to the video. So for me, that is a little bit different because I tend to favor sights that are a little bit lower. The way my face is shaped is I can get fairly low on the stock. And with this scope, I have a little bit more of a heads-up position, and I'm undecided yet on whether I like it. But I do know a lot of people who have neck issues and stuff like that will prefer it, and a lot of people generally like the whole heads-up thing. I'm comfortable using it partly because I've experimented quite a bit with having a magnified optic mounted low and a red dot sight on top of it. I picked this off of a gentleman who goes by Birdie on Sniper Side, and I thought it was an interesting idea, and that's how he sets up his low-powered variables. So I tried it, and it actually works reasonably well for me. So I'm basically using this with the same hold as I would with a piggybacked red dot sights, and it's working fine, and it is quick, and it's quick and easy to acquire. What's going to be interesting to see is how comfortable I am with this thing shooting prone, sitting from slower, more precision-oriented positions by AR standards. So that really remains to be seen. But so far so good. I like what I'm seeing. I have not done anything in low light yet. So I will do my usual through the scope video. That you'll see that at some not too distant point, and then there'll be my normal workup: bright light, low light. I'll bang it up a little bit, intentionally or unintentionally, depending on how the fates make it, and we'll see how it stacks up. It's kind of nice, the guys. I talked to the guys at SwampFox. They say the right things. They're going in the right direction. I think if they do what they say, they will do very well. But only time will tell. Anyhow, if you have any questions about the site or anything else, you know where to find me. And thank you for watching.